Hello and welcome to another tutorial in our advanced Android, Kotlin and Firebase lessons. In this part, I will show you how to create a list fragment. Now, list fragments are a bit complex because what we want is to show a repetitive kind of information in a certain layout structure. Okay, now all this, what we're going to see in this part, it's a bit complex, so I want you to pay a lot of attention and try to see how it works from the point of view of optimization. Okay, now I will create a new fragment, okay, called fragment. There is an option to create a fragment list. Okay, I'm not going to do that for now. Now, if you create a fragment list, it will create all kind of files that I will have to explain one by one, so I prefer to do it from blank, from nothing. And we're gonna call it list fragment. Again, I don't want to include any of the fragment factory method nor interface callbacks. Okay, we're going to create this. Great. As I will, if we remember from the first one, the second fragment we didn't do anything. We will remember that I intervene and I added these lines here so I can access the visual elements in the first fragment. We'll have to do something similar. I'm going to copy this line, okay, and I'm going to put it in the list fragment, and I will return the root. Because after we manipulate the view, the root of the view, the onCreate view always have to receive by return the view, the root. Okay. Inside, in between these lines, we will do all kind of things, so we can work with the list that I will create. So let's start, like always, by going to the XML, okay, and clean up this thing. I don't want the text view anymore, but I will create something called recycler view, okay? And I will put it here, okay? Let me explain to you a bit what is a recycler view. The recycler view, as the name says, is a view that recycles the data from, so it doesn't really abuses or overuses the memory of the phone. Okay, you have to understand that when we try to show a lot of things in the screen, generally when to create in a list, it can affect significantly the amount of memory that is being dedicated to that app. And if we don't really treat it well, it can eventually crash the application. We cannot show all the data if we cannot load, all the data in the memory if we're not going to show it on the screen. The recycle view, what it does is if we have 100 different elements and many of them are not in the screen, okay, they're out of the screen. If they're out of the screen, they're not going to be loaded in memory until the user wants to see it in the screen. That way, the only things that are loaded are the ones that are showing right in that moment in the screen. Okay. Recycler views, as any other element view, has an ID, and I'm going to give it ID RV list. Okay, sorry, list. I'm going to give it that name so I can now initialize it in my list fragment. Like in the fragment first, I'm going to create a var rview list. Let's call it the same, of type recycler view. This is the recycler view to null, and I will initialize it here by doing root dot find view by ID, and it is called rv list. Okay, so now I have access to this element, okay, to this object. Okay, the next step is to start working with this. You have to understand that right now, if I execute, well, right now it doesn't gonna show anything. Let's go to the scrolling here and let's add the fragment here so we can have the transition. Okay, fragment list. list fragment. Let's call it fragment. Let's initialize it here. List fragment. And let's change that instead of showing the first fragment, let's create another function called show list fragment. Well, let's just, instead of showing, now let's create another function called this show list fragment. That's it. I'm not going to show show list fragment. Here it has to be fragment list. And it's not showing the first, which is okay. Okay, great. And instead of this, we're gonna do this. Okay. If it doesn't show the first, yeah, just leave it like that. We're not going to press the fab anyway, so it's okay. If I do this, when the activity is created, it will show the list fragment. Okay. Now if I go here, as you can see, the list fragment is complete. Oh, sorry. Fragment list, for container. Let's execute it again. I'm not sure why it's not showing. A second. Ah, wait, no. Interesting. One second. You should have shown everything empty. For some reason it's showing let's force it to be show list fragment. One second. So because I found out what's the problem. Because I was extremely, how can I say it? I have to put this back. Everything was okay in the code, okay, from before the show for list fragment, the show, everything here is okay. But because I was extremely lazy, yeah, and I copy paste, I did a mistake. In the list fragment, you see, I'm pointing to the wrong visual element. By copying what we had here, this line, I also copied the wrong link to the wrong XML. We have to clean this up and put the right one, which is the fragment list. Okay, now it will work. This is very important you understand, which is a good, it's also a good thing that it happened, so you can understand some concepts. Okay, it shows it empty. Okay, you can understand some concepts behind what it means to do an MVP or MVC, one of those two development. You will see that eventually you can make many different versions of the XML and link it to the same file by changing here. That's very important because it's a very important concept of the programming philosophy. It really doesn't matter right now because we're not going to work in it, but what's important to you to see here is that there is nothing, it's empty, the list fragment, and it's exactly what I wanted you to see. The list fragment, even though here it shows item 0, 1, 2, 3, this is only a hint. It only shows us how it will look like when we start giving information to the list. Okay. With that, the following step will be to create what we call an adapter. Right? Adapters are files that will manage all the recycling process in a view. It will be a different class, it won't be here, and it will be connected to the RV list. If we put RV list dot and we see what the attributes, you will see, well, those are the functions. Okay, there are functions and variables, as you can see, variables, methods. Okay, if we go and we write adapter, you will see there is an adapter variable, which is the one that's going to point to the object or the class that will manage everything related to painting and the data that will be shown into our list. And that we will do in the following part of our tutorial.